So on 95, we're deciding if the functions are even, odd, or neither. So we're going to plug in negative x and see, or we can try to graph them. I'm going to go ahead and plug in negative x. So I think I will do the one with the fraction because I think that'll freak you out the most. So we'll do this one. So we've got y equals negative. Let me clear it. Just get this thing out of the way. Okay. So y equals negative x to the 4th power over 2. So that's negative x times negative x times negative x times negative x over 2, which is x to the 4th over 2 because of the negatives will all just go away. And it's exactly the same as what I started with, so it's even. For 96, I will not be doing the problem for you, but here is a very helpful hint. We're trying to find the distance from this point to this line. And so we know how to do the distance formula, which is the Pythagorean theorem, which is this horrifying, ugly thing when we go crazy. So y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. And so my points are 4, 5, and this is the weird part, x, 2x plus 3. And so my distance will start like as the following, and you'll need to clean this up. So we will have y2, so 2x plus 3 minus 5 squared plus x2 minus x squared. So I want you to clean it up. You want to add these together, square it out, see what happens. I bet you screw up, but that's a good hint. It gives you some place to start. Maybe you won't screw up. Surprise me. So then 97, this is a sideways parabola. And so my locator point, that's all I'm going to give you as a locator point, is 3, negative 5. The reason I'm giving you these hints is because you're still watching this video. So that's the locator point, and it's a sideways parabola, half a parabola. This one, each of the following machines changes given x value to corresponding f of x value. What is the equation in the machine? So 10 becomes 110, 2 becomes 5, 3 becomes 10, 5 becomes 26. So what am I doing to these numbers? So 10, 101, 2, 5, 3, 10, 5, 26. I'm not quite sure. I'm not seeing any great pattern here that we have an increase, a jump of 5. So the next one would be 15, which would make this 20. So it's not linear. Since I'm not sure, I'm going to jump over to Desmos and see what I can see. And I'm going to plot those points. So I had 10, 101, and 10, 101, where to go? 10, 101, 2, 5, 3, 10, 2, 5, 3, 10, and 5, 26 if I recall. And so I don't need very many negative numbers on my x-axis. I don't need to go past 10. Let's go up to 12 though. My y-axis, I don't need any negative numbers, but I do need to go up to 100 plus. So it looks like it might be something squared. Yeah, it's x squared plus 1. So this is x squared plus 1. How do I know that? Because 10 squared is 100 plus 1. 2 squared is 4 plus 1. 3 squared is 9 plus 1. 5 squared is 25 plus 1. So there's my equation. But I had to kind of see it curve in the picture to see what was going on. And then 2 more hints. So we solve each equation for y. I think I'll do D. And then I'll do B. So I will do these two. So we'll do D first. First thing I'm going to do is get the square root to go away. So that means y plus 4 equals x plus 2 squared, squaring both sides of my equation. Then moving the 4 over, I have y equals x plus 2 quantity squared minus 4. I am not going to do any more math. Yeah, actually I probably will. So I'm just going to do it fast though and not really explain myself. X squared plus 4x plus 4 minus 4. So this is really y equals x squared plus 4x. But this is a perfectly acceptable answer. So when you're doing that one, you can stop here. And so this one's really tricky because of the y in the denominator. Makes it very annoying. So I'm going to start by moving the 3. So I've got x plus 1 over y equals 5. And I'm going to times both sides by y. So 6x minus 1 equals 5y. And then I'm going to, I'm still trying to get y alone. So now I'm just going to divide and y will be alone. So moving up here so I don't write on the problem below it. Y equals 6x minus 1 over 5. And last but not least, Paul states that a plus b quantity squared is equivalent to a squared plus b squared. Joyce thinks something is missing. Help Joyce show Paul that two expressions are not equivalent. Explain at least using two different approaches, diagrams, algebras, numbers, or words. So I really, really want to help Paul, and this is not a specific Paul in class. We do have one. This is just some random Paul. And what's really funny about these is this is my aunts and uncles' names. So Paul's my Uncle Paul, and Joyce is my Aunt Joyce, and we'll just pretend. But Paul is missing something, and it's really important that Joyce show him what's missing. So first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is actually jump to diagrams. So I'm going to go ahead and graph. I'm going to draw this, a plus b. So a is some length. Let's call that a. And b is some other length, b. Okay, and that's b. And so a plus b squared, where it's going to get a little tricky. So I've duplicated that length. If I were to square it, I would make it look like a square. So I'm going to go ahead and make that as vertical as I can make it. And move it over here-ish. And so what I'd end up with is, going back to red, I'd have a squared here. And going to blue, I'd have a b squared down here. This is a squared. Because this is a and this is b out here. But I would have these two shapes here, where this is AB and this is AB. So I'd have these two middle shapes that I need to put on. Using the same idea, and the same lengths for A and B. If I did a squared plus b squared, I'm going to go ahead and do this one a little different looking. I would end up with b squared and a squared. And so I don't have those two rectangles. And so that's one approach. And then the other approach, use some numbers, like just plug in some numbers. Like let's say A equals 5 and B equals 6 and see what happens. See if they're the same. 5 plus 6 is 11 and 11 squared is 121 and 5 squared is 25 and 6 squared is 36 and 25 plus 36 is 71, not 121. So it doesn't work. So that would be the other way. So I said that one out loud, which means you'll have to like remind me 7 times so you can hear it and write it down or just pick your own numbers. Good luck with your homework, and thanks for continuing to watch.